This is my 1983 Toyota FJ60 that I bought for just $2,000. Today it's probably my favorite vehicle, although it looked nothing like this when I bought it. Over the last 2.5 years, I've completely restored this truck, including some pretty major jobs. The first thing being buying a donor FJ60 from Chicago, having it shipped here, where we cut the back half of it off and stitch welded that FJ60 rear end to this one. That was a pretty big job. Along with all the body work, all the Bondo metal work, we got it pretty straight, so there's not a whole lot of Bondo in it, including over the stitch welds, and this is straight as an arrow. We and my dad, we sprayed the whole thing in an inflatable paint booth, and it turned out pretty awesome. It took a little bit of time cutting, buffing, a little bit of orange peel, but it turned out pretty sweet. I was pretty excited about that. And to kind of protect all that hard work that went into getting it straight and making the paint look so good, I've got PPF on both doors on both sides. I've PPF the whole front of the hood. I plan to do the front fenders and most of the back of it, just haven't gotten around to that, just to protect the paint and eliminate any rock chips that might come as I drive around. And it's been pretty awesome, and I don't think I would change a thing. I've always been a big fan of Toyotas and Land Cruisers. Growing up, my dad had a 1981 FJ40, and he still has that. I remember riding around in that as a kid, and I always loved that. Never really was a big fan of the FJ60s. I always liked the FJ40s and Ford Broncos, and thought that would probably be what I ended up with. But like I said, 2.5 years ago, I saw this thing pop up on Facebook Marketplace about, I think it was about 4 hours away from where I live, and it was about $2,000. Like the photo you saw, it was missing the back half of it. It was a little rusty, pretty beat up. Interior was basically gone. I had thoughts of probably just kind of turning it into a fun rig to beat around. I thought about putting kind of a camper on the back, making it a cool 2-door camper style, and then my dad talked me into bringing it back to its former glory. This was the original light blue metallic Toyota paint code and color that we ended up painting it, kind of getting it back to its original glory. I don't think most people would have kind of seen that vision, but after a little bit of persuasion and some looking at cool ones online, I was like, all right, I gotta have it. I gotta turn it into something awesome, which I think I've done. I was able to take most of the interior out of the donor one from Chicago. I bought it for, I want to say $900. It cost $1,200 to get it here. So between the glass and a lot of the things I needed for the back of it, and almost all the interior, between that and the one I had, I was able to piece together basically some mint interior. Just like any project, it's still a project, so there's some loose wires and everything still around, especially associated with the Holley Terminator X Max system that I've got for the LS. But like I mentioned, the interior is really clean. All the door cards, everything looks super good. Back seats, everything works, they fold down. I ended up putting in some rubber mat for the back, so when I fold this back seat over, it all kind of makes a nice smooth deal. You can see that in there. I've got a Kenwood Bluetooth stereo in there that I wired in just to make it to where I can play tunes, the ones I want. And it's got some kicker speakers in the door cards, and then it's got the bigger kicker speakers in the back, which sounds pretty awesome. And the full headliner came out of the one from Chicago. Looks pretty awesome. Took a little cleaning, but nothing too crazy. And now to the LS. Now this was the last thing I've done to it, is put the 5.3 LS in it. You know, when I first bought it, and then when I restored it and got it running good and everything looked good, I never really thought that I would put an LS in it. And then I bought a 1983 Mastercraft Stars and Stripes ski boat in blue that matches this, and I couldn't help but need to pull that around and kind of show that off. So to do that, I was looking at some different engine swaps. I kind of thought the guys putting LSs in Land Cruisers was kind of silly, but now that I've got one, it's pretty awesome and I would highly recommend. So I did all this myself, along with the bodywork. Didn't really know how to do any of it. Learned from YouTube and trial and error. I'd say it took me about 4 times longer than it should have, and 10 times longer than it would have taken a professional to do it, but now I know how to do it, kind of. So it's, like I said, it's a 5.3 junkyard LS. Came from just eBay. I just bought one. Came from the East Coast somewhere. When I got it, the block was a little rustier than I would have liked, so I cleaned everything up. Took the valves off, inspected everything, didn't break it open, didn't really do much to it aside from clean it up. It's got shorty headers on it, Amazon special intake, and it's got the 4L60E 4-speed transmission that I ended up having rebuilt, which was a little costly, but I had them build it pretty strong so that I don't have to worry about it when I'm pulling the boat around. And I've been doing that, and it pulls it awesome, and I don't really have to think about it. I can just hop in it, hook it up, cruise, shifts super smooth, gets around town awesome. Gas mileage, I'm not too sure about it. I mean, it gets better than the 2F that was in it, and I can drive it every day, and I have been kind of daily driving this thing. So it's got the Holley Terminator X Max computer controlling it. So I ended up going with that just because, like I said, I wasn't super experienced to unlock a ECU and have that tuned, and I figured by the time I paid for all that and screwed that up twice, I may as well just get a Holley system, kind of a good one. So I did that. I bought the Holley Terminator X Max so that it controlled the 4L60E, which it was awesome, pretty much plug and play. There were a few issues with injectors and different things that I had to end up replacing, but it was no fault of the ECU or anything like that. So the engines run strong, compression's good, so I'm pretty happy with that. It did take me longer than I would have liked, but that's because I was learning. And it's got a Champion's aluminum radiator that was in it when I bought it, and it seems to keep it perfectly cool. Haven't had any issues with that. It'll get a little warm when I'm sitting, but nothing crazy. One of the coolest things that I did that I didn't really see anybody else doing was I ended up putting in a FJ60 steering box, which has been so awesome. I mean, you can steer it with one finger. I had to do just minor modifications. I don't know that you can see in there, but I just had to drill out one bolt on the frame. Other than that, it was pretty much thread everything in that was existing, and it's got so much more steering power between that and the LS power steering pump. It is totally rad. So like I said, it's got the shorty headers. I built a full exhaust for it. It's got, I think, a Super 55, something like that, muffler on it. And when I wired that, or when I got that all in, it was a little louder than I'd like, so I added some resonators and quieted it down a little bit, which helped a lot. But it's not the prettiest engine bay. I still have some loose wires I'm cleaning up when I've got time, but right now it's functioning, which is all I need it to do right now, which is, it's been a lot of fun to drive. And like I mentioned, it's got the 4L60E transmission, so I had to do some major adjusting and fitment to get this shifter in here, but it looks pretty awesome because it looks basically factory, and you wouldn't know until you click it into drive and don't touch it again, which is pretty sweet. Here, underneath here, it's not the prettiest, but there's the 4L60E, there's the exhaust. Had some unique routing, not the prettiest welds, but they'll do. And you have to get the drive shaft adjusted, but there is the FJ60 factory transfer case, and there's the advanced adapter that converts it, and then you just kind of gotta build your own cross member. It's got 33 12.5 BFG KO2 all-terrains on it with the 15-inch wheels. I've always liked this style wheel. It also matches the wheels on the boat, so everything is cool there. It's got the Oman Emu lift kit you buy off Manafree. I think it was the 2.5-inch lift kit. It's got a little more rake than I'd like, so I've got some longer shackles in there to help with that, but still got a little more stink bug than I would like, but I'll probably get around to that one day. As for the back of it, it's got nothing special. It's got the normal lift gate, tailgate, which is pretty awesome. You can do with whatever you want. You know, you want to sleep in the back of it, you want to throw a bunch of stuff in the back of it. That's pretty awesome, and it's a pretty cool feature with the FJ60s that I think is underappreciated. I know like I said, I wasn't a big fan of them, but now that I've got one and probably will never sell it, I really like it. The rear bumper, I built this one from scratch. Well, that's not totally true. I found a guy that he had everything cut out and they just buy all the pieces, and I welded it all together and modified it a little bit because I wanted this to kind of chase out and fill in that gap like it did from factory. Turned out pretty good. Just welded everything and ground it down and spray painted it matte black. Eventually I'll probably do the powder coat, but it's a little more expensive than I wanted to pay to have that done, so I never did it. But it's also got I have a receiver hitch. Like I mentioned, I'm pulling a 1983 Mastercraft ski boat with it, and it's got the trailer lights wired in, which still aren't wired in quite right, but good enough. Pulls really awesome with the 4-speed automatic. I feel pretty comfortable driving it. The transmission stays pretty cool. It's just got a basic cheapo tranny cooler on it. Just 6 AN lines running to the cooler from the 4L60E. It stays plenty cool, which has been pretty nice. I'd say putting the LS in it was probably the funnest thing to do out of all the steps of the process. Bodywork and paint kind of sucked, but turned out good, which made it worth it, but it was a lot of time to make it look this good. But the engine itself, it's kind of what I'm interested in, so I learned so much, and I feel like I could do it again. Obviously, I'd have my issues and different problems that would come up, but I'd say it went pretty good, and I learned a lot, and I think I could do it again if I need to, which I probably will one day. For the front end, it's got some Hello lights on it that look pretty cool, kind of period correct. Got a worn winch, not wired in. These not wired in, but look cool. It's got this cool front bumper. I got it from Manafree as well. It's just kind of their basic one they've got on their website. I can't remember the brand or who manufactures it, but bolts on, looks cool. I think it is a lot easier than building one for where it's priced. And then I've got these are probably my favorite part, these LED headlights that are plug and play. They're pretty awesome, and if you guys have any questions about those, you can let me know and I can point you in the right direction on how to get those. Now let's go take it for a spin. Drives pretty dang good. Track's straight, rides pretty smooth. It did ride a lot better with about $500 or 500 pounds worth of center block in the back of it, but I took those out. Now it rides a little stiff. But here's the Holley Terminator. It's telling me everything I need to know. Transmission temp is kind of my focus, especially because I spent $3,000 to have it rebuilt, so I definitely don't want to overheat that. But rides good, sounds good. But you can quick get out, do a walk around. It does have a little loud fuel pump, and that rake is a little more than I'd like, but it's clean. And if at any point you have any questions or ask where I got something or how I did something, or if you saw something I didn't touch on, just let me know and I can talk about it. One more thing, gonna do a couple revs. A little better than a 2F. Obviously, the 2Fs are cool in their own regard, but when you're hauling a boat around and you're kind of driving it a lot, the LS adds a lot of value, which is why I went with it and why I'm pretty happy with it. It just runs good, it's super reliable, and considering the fact that I did it is that much more impressive, and it runs good and starts. Surprises me almost every day that happens, but I'm happy about that, and it's just been a lot of fun. Also, I do have this, which that thing doesn't suck either. It's cool in its own ways. Well, there it is, my 1983 FJ60. I hope you guys enjoy this video. I plan on doing more stuff like this, do a few videos on the Porsche. I recently got this, so it's been fun to work on that, probably do some maintenance videos. I like working on cars. Kind of wish I would have documented this more than I did, but I do have a Instagram channel that I posted a lot of this stuff on, and I'm doing more of that. So if you want to follow that, it's Morty at Morty's Garage. And yeah, subscribe and follow if you want to see more of it, or tell me I'm done. Either way, thanks.